Hi everyone, I'm going to do my final speech for Speech 105. I also am going to be reading a little bit off of these pamphlets. My speech is on domestic violence, so as required we had to have handouts. So mine are these two pamphlets and about the ways to get help. I personally experienced this, so this is my personal story, and it is a lot, so I do apologize. But I think that it really would be helpful to somebody if they were in my situation, because they'd be able to relate to me a little bit. And for me, it was like encouraging when I heard another story, because then it would give me kind of like, well, this isn't the end for me, and I can, have my life or whatever it is that I wanted to do. Because that was one of my biggest struggles when going through my domestic violence situation, which was actually with my ex-husband, that I wasn't alone. It wasn't just me. I didn't do anything wrong. That was the biggest thing. I had to learn that it wasn't my fault. Because it's not your fault. You didn't choose to put your hands on them. They chose to put their hands on you. It's not your fault. There's always a way to communicate and talk things out. Not everything has to resolve in violence. And I apologize for my looks, but hockey mom, I've been up really early, so here it goes. My final speech is something that is very important to me. It is something that speaks volumes to me and many other men and women. I am sharing my story with you today, as I said, to bring awareness, A, and B, because I think it is important for everyone to know that they're not the only one, that there are multiple people out in this world that have been through things that they need, people need help. Like, it's okay. Like, it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to need help, and it is okay to go through something. We get so shamed nowadays for dealing with things, or if your life isn't picture perfect, like it looks like on Facebook, then how dare you? Well, not everybody has that life. For 4 years, I didn't have that life. Probably even a little longer, to be honest. That's just my estimate. But it's okay. You don't have to have this picture perfect life and everything is going to be perfect, because it doesn't work like that. Nothing works like that. I think it's important to share my story. I think it's important for me to be heard. I think it's important because I honestly feel that it will help somebody. So backtracking to the beginning of my story, I was 18 and I met this guy. I was in high school. I kind of knew him before because he was a friend of my sister's, but I wasn't like, they were friends, but they didn't really hang out a lot or anything, whatever. So one of my mutual friends, we ended up having a mutual friend, and so I was over at her house and we would hang out and we would do stuff with her kids and all this stuff. Well, she had him at the house one day, and so we were just kind of talking, getting to know each other, whatever. Well, we ended up switching numbers, and so we started talking and doing all these things, and we would get together, and then, whatever, we would go on dates and whatever. So we started dating in the end of January of my senior year, and things, they went really well. He would pick me up from school sometimes, and we would go hang out with his grandma and have dinner with her. We would come to my house and have dinner with my family. He would come hang out with me while I did my homework. He would come out on the weekends and help my dad with yard work and housework and all different stuff. I mean, it was whatever. I mean, it was a relationship. It was whatever. It was nice. It was fun getting to go out and do things and having some time for myself away from work and school. And so then, from there, we were dating about 4 or 5 months, and I got this message on Facebook. It was a super duper long message from this girl, and she was telling me all these things, and she knew all these personal things about me, and I'm like, this is weird, like, whatever. And then so at the bottom of it, she was telling me about how, like, that is her boyfriend, and they're dating, and all this stuff. Well, it was a little weird because, he's my boyfriend now, so psycho, go away, whatever. Well, she really wasn't lying. he was found out that he was cheating on both of us with each other, and then there was a few others. So it was my first, it was my first real relationship. I don't like to use the word real because I've had other relationships, but they were just kind of like, I don't know, I would go on a date with this guy and maybe we'd hang out or whatever, but it was never really like an actual boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. So then after I left, him and I took some time to myself because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And he's like, I just need another chance. I promise I won't do this again, blah, blah, blah. So I gave him another chance. And he had just gone through a lot, like his grandfather just died and different things. So I thought that maybe he was just kind of acting out because of all this. Well, then I found out, fast forwarding about 6 months-ish. So we've been together roughly about 9 months at this point. He got a message from this girl, and she was like, they were back and forth talking and blah blah blah. So we were sitting out at my parents' house and we were having a cookout, and he tells me to go put his phone away. Well, I'm not a jealous type. Like, it does not bother me that he had friends that were girls. It did not bother me, like, he would go hang out with his other friends or whatever. I'm not a jealous person. Like, I've never really been jealous because I've always felt that if they wanted to be with me, they'd be with me. If they didn't want to be with me, then, like, we'll end it. Like, yes, it's going to suck. I'm not saying it's not going to suck, but I'm not going to stay with somebody who doesn't want to be with me. I think that's pointless. And I'm not going to beg somebody to be with me who doesn't want to be with me. So I went to put his phone on the charger, and I was curious to who it was, so I opened his phone and I looked, and it was his ex-girlfriend, and I found another text from this other girl, and who claiming that she was pregnant by him, and so she ended up to be, and he pretty much ignored her through the entire pregnancy and never really helped her. He never helped her with the baby. He did pay child support, but it was, I don't know, it was mandated, so it wasn't like he was willing to do it or wanting to do it. He just did it because he knew he had to do it, which shame on him because that's not fair to his daughter or her mother, because she didn't do that alone. Like, it's not just her fault. So, but fast forward again, and I had moved out of my house because I was 18 years old, and I had a job, and I was going to school, and so I got my first apartment, and he ended up moving in with me because he didn't trust me to live by myself. So I ended up moving in with him, and I wasn't really ready to or whatever. Well, that's when things really got bad because he was going to strip clubs all the time, and he was doing this, and he was doing that, and, like, it wasn't, like, I wasn't okay with it. Like, I didn't want him going to a strip club, but he went anyways. And I understand that there are things that guys are going to do. And even I know girls that like to go to a strip club, whatever. But I think when you're in there, you need to be respectful. Like, if you have a girlfriend, like, you need to keep in mind that you have a girlfriend and you can't be going to a strip club acting like I don't even know how to describe that. So, pretty much after that incident, I found I was pregnant with my oldest, and so we stayed. I tried to work it out. I was like, I'm having a baby with him. Like, I have to stay with him because, I'm having his daughter, whatever. And so we ended up making it work, and we stayed together, and we tried, but there was always cheating, and there was lying, and the night I had my daughter, he left me at the hospital to go have sex with his ex-girlfriend, and then fast forward a little bit, I mean, things were always kind of bad. Like, we'd get in altercations. They never turned physical. We had one physical altercation when my daughter Dixie was born, and he started, like, to come at me, so I, like, jumped at him and like kind of grabbed his throat and, like, pushed him away from me. So, and it wasn't like I wasn't trying to be malicious. I was trying to, like, get him, like, away from me. But then nothing ever happened for it was a few years. It was probably 2.5, almost 3 years. And then I had my son. And the night I had my son, he left me at the hospital again to go hook up with, I think there was 3 different girls that night. And so the whole time, like, I know that you guys are probably thinking, why didn't she just leave? What I don't know. Like, there's so many questions. Like, why didn't I leave? Well, I didn't leave because I didn't think I could. Because I thought the way I was raised was when you stick with somebody, you commit to them. And we had kids, so it wasn't just as simple for me as just leaving. It wasn't like I could just leave. Well, I mean, yes, I could have just left, but I didn't realize, like, the way I was raised, my parents always kind of guilt tripped me into making it where I had to stay with them, even though I know that I didn't. So it was more complicated than just leaving. Like, there was a lot more to it than that. And so when I after I had my son, he was 3 months old, and we got married. And I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. The night of my bachelorette party, I looked at my best friend and I was like, I don't want to do this. We were getting ready for my wedding, and I looked at her and I was like, can we take the keys to my Jeep and leave? Like, I didn't want to be there. I was just, nope, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. But I felt like I owed my kids to get married and make things work because that was their dad, and I didn't want them to be separated from their dad and have a broken home. So I married him, and that night we both were drinking, obviously, and we got into an argument about things, just, I mean, everything, no joke, everything. And so after the argument, I had just went to bed, and I literally locked on my wedding night, like, I slept by myself on my bed with my two kids, my 3-month-old baby and my 2-year-old daughter. We all, like, just curled up in the bed and went to bed, like, because I'm not going to let him in the room when he's disrespect me like that. Like, I'm not doing it. So then things happen and things calm down a little bit or whatever, and a few weeks after that, it was about 6 weeks. Well, no, it was about 3 weeks to the first time, and he was outside doing something, and he came back in, and he got so mad. I don't know what he was mad about. He was mad about him, and my dad got into it. He called my dad, and they started screaming at each other, and he told my dad he's going to put a bullet in his head. I mean, it was really drastic. I can't even explain all of it. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. And then so we started arguing about him talking to my parents that way, and trust me, I don't have the greatest relationship with my parents, so it was really hard for me. I felt like I was kind of in the middle, because I don't have a good relationship with them. I don't agree with the way my mom and dad parented when we were little, and I don't agree with how they do things even now, and I'm 26 years old. So when I had my daughter, my daughter and I I was going to put her in the bathtub, and we were arguing, and I told him I was done arguing, so I told Dixie, I said, come on, let's go get in the bathtub, and, I mean, she was little, so she was excited to take a bath, and so we go in to take a bath, and I started to turn the water on. Well, he came in and got really mad, and he picked Dixie up, and, like, he grabbed her like this, the head of her hair, and he picked her up, and he threw her across the hallway from the entrance of our bathroom into her room. She did land on her bed, thank God, but she, because her bed was, like, right in, it was a very small little, like, 1-floor house. I mean, our house was, like, teeny tiny. But, so then he locks comes in the bathroom and locks the bathroom door so that the baby was in the crib, but so that he couldn't come in. Or my youngest, my daughter, I'm sorry, could not come in. And so finally, when he shut the door or whatever, he, like, bent me over, like, the toilet's laying here, and he bent me, like, over back, like, this is my back, and, like, I'm leaning like this over the thing, and he threatened he's gonna beat me up, and he's in my face and spitting on me, and pulled my hair a couple times, and he starts, like, slapping me and all this shit, and I was like, you know what, I'm done, like, I'm done with you, whatever. So I called my mom, which I hadn't spoke to in a while, because she didn't even come to my wedding. Like I said, it's a very long history with them. But, so finally I come to, I guess, and I went in my bedroom, and because that's where most of the kids' stuff was, because we did have 2 bedrooms, but we used the other bedroom more as, like, a toy room, because our living room was so small, so we kind of all, like, Dixie's bed was in the thing, but she slept in bed with me most of the night, so I go in and I pack a bag of the baby's clothes and my older daughter's clothes, and then I took a bag and packed a bag of my clothes. I went into the, kids' room, and I packed, a few, like, small toys that I could get in there, Dixie's favorite stuffed animal, like their favorite blankets, different stuff like that, and at this time, Brent, my ex-husband, he had left, and the house and took my Jeep. And so my mom was coming to get me, and she brought my brother with her. He is a lot younger than me, but he's a lot bigger than me. So she brought him in case he stuff. And I never thought to call the police. I didn't want to call the police because I thought that was going to be bad. And technically, honestly, that's what you should do. Always, always, always. I know it's not easy. I know it is not easy. I have been there, but call the police. There is a reason they are there. They are there to help us in this situation. So I ended up leaving, and I got out of the house without being harmed again or whatever. So my mother came and got us, and we went to my parents' house, and we stayed there for a while. And there was a lot of different things. There was back and forth. There was verbally arguing, and then he disappeared for like 6 months, and we didn't hear from him. And he got another girlfriend and whatever. And we were still married at this time, yeah. So I ended up filing a report and going to court. He had filed a report on me with CPS and saying that I was a bad mom and I was neglecting my kids and all this stuff, and I wasn't. They had more than they needed. They had all kinds of toys. I mean, we used to do all kinds of fun things together, and we were always coloring and just cuddling up and watching movies and all this stuff. So CPS came and investigated my house, and they saw nothing wrong, and the guy he physically actually said, "This is a fucking waste of my time." Excuse my language, but that is what he said. I even have a report with it highlighted on it. And so he came and whatever, and so that didn't work, and blah 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 blah. Well, he suggested that I file a report and go to court. So I went to court, and it was kind of pointless because the judge denied it because I didn't have any proof from back then. And so, and it was about 2 months since it happened, but so I couldn't even protect myself because the court wouldn't help me. And I know that, and that's why I stressed earlier that you always need to go to the police. Go to the police. Go to the police. Go to the police. You need to go to the police. You need to get help. So long story short, we are divorced now, and I am remarried to a wonderful, wonderful man who would never put his hands on me, or he doesn't even talk to me in a foul manner. Like, he is so good with my kids. He actually adopted my older 2 kids, so I haven't talked to or heard from my ex-husband in, I think it's been a few years, and he hasn't asked about his children. He asked me once, it was a couple months ago, and that was the first time he's asked me in 4 years since I left. So it's kind of frustrating a little bit because you think that he would still want something to do with his kids, but he did it, and we went through the adoption, and they got adopted. But it's important for them to know that they're loved, and I do plan on sharing this story with them if I have to, maybe in not so many details, because I don't want my kids to think that he's a bad person, because he was on drugs and there was other things involved, and like I could have went on, honestly, I could have gave this speech for an hour, but there are so many people. There's more than 38 million Americans, and these are just women that have been victims of domestic violence. 38 million. Like, that's just unacceptable. That number is way too high. And a lot of those even result in death. Over half of those 38 million result in death. Those are just the recorded ones. There's also unrecorded domestic violence cases that you don't hear anything about those people and you don't even know if they've died or if they're still with us or any of that. So it's super frustrating because there's so much work that needs to be done in the domestic violence. I don't even know the right word to call that. Like not an industry, but like with the victims, like there needs to be different ways, and there needs to be help, and we need to help them. It is a crime, and it is not okay, and I just hope that speaking with you guys today that I was able to set some kind of example or impact for you guys. I do hope that if any of you are going through something similar, you talk to a doctor, talk to a family member, message me. Like, seriously, message me. I will help you. It's important. It really is important because I went through a really bad depression with mine, and I also I tried to commit suicide once, and I'm not proud of that, but I did. I tried to commit suicide once because I just didn't think he was ever going to go away, and I didn't think he was ever going to leave me alone, and I thought I was forever going to be in that kind of situation. So I do think it's super important for you to get help and to reach out to one another. So, like I said, I hope that this set some type of example for you or helped you in some way. And I have these papers to pass out for everyone on domestic violence and the hotline numbers on it. And so I pass them out, and I help. If you know anyone showing signs or whatever, that you call the hotline and you get your self-help. I hope I was able to impact, or at least, I enjoyed sharing my story with you guys. I know it was a frustrating story. It's not something that I like to share all the time, but I feel like it's something that I could help people and help them learn from. So have a great day.